Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to make a stencil depending on whether you need to do it by hand or if you have a stencil printer. They're like around $100 on Amazon. I can send you guys a link to a couple. But this is the paper that you want. Just the Spirit Classic Thermal Tattoo Stencil paper. Pretty common. You can get it on Amazon. You know, get it in various sizes, amounts like 10 or 50 sheets or whatever. If you're going to make one by hand, you're going to have to use, a ballpoint pen, normal ballpoint pen or a fine ballpoint pen like this one here. But if nothing else, just like a normal Bic ballpoint pen. You need a ballpoint so it rolls across the paper properly. I like this one because it's just a little bit smaller, any stuff you can get at like, Walmart, Office Max, whatever. I'm going to do the outline of a key on somebody today for sentimental purposes. There's a couple of ways you could do this. Here's a new sheet of the stencil paper. And when you get this, there's going to be a few different layers. This outer white layer is the actual part the stencil will get printed on. This brown, or sometimes it's white or something, this doesn't matter, but it's a tissue or onion sheet. We only put that in there, that way the paper doesn't get damaged during packaging and shipping. So you immediately take this out and throw it in the trash. And it's really soft, you'll see it's just the packing, but we don't want that. Now, we're going to want to trace this and make a stencil. So you can trace through this piece of paper onto the tissue paper, or you could trace directly onto this, directly onto this, the regular paper. So, sorry I was out of the camera there. Here's an older piece that I've already used. One of you were messaging me. So, first way I'm going to show you how you do that is put the key over top of the tissue paper. Now, sometimes you want to take a little piece of tape to hold stuff in place. You don't want this stuff like moving around and shit. So, just a little bit right there. That way, it's not going to move around on you. Take your ballpoint pen and trace over the image. It's going to be a little hard for me to lean under the camera to do this, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And you want to press firmly, because it's like those old like carbon sheets. It works that way, but that's not really what it's made out of. But it transfers with pressure. And of course, take your time. The better your stencil is, the better your tattoo will come out. It's definitely a step you don't want to skip. I'm having a harder time because I can't get over top of it because of the camera, sorry. Bear with me for a sec. So this is one way to do it, and now you'll see we have our stencil on the stencil paper too. That one, you can see it's a little lighter, but it works. And you want to cut your image out as close to where your image is, and only ever cut the white paper. If you start trying to cut this purple or this backing yellow, it makes a real massive mess. And if you end up with one of the printers, you won't be able to run it back through the printer if you cut this off and like use it and try to use up all of it, you know what I mean? Like, even though I've already used it here once, and I've used it here, I can still use it over here for another tattoo there too. So I save these pieces until they're totally gone. And then there's that. There's your stencil on the actual tissue paper, which is very flexible and moves and sticks to the body, and when it gets like wet down with the stencil cream, it kind of just molds right to the skin. I'll show you how to do that later. Now you can also trace it onto this regular paper too, and just move the tissue paper out of the way, and then just place this directly onto the purple. And you want to make sure you're pressing firm enough to get the transfer of the stencil, purple stencil stuff onto the paper. And you can use it this same way. If you want, you can just transfer the stencil right off of regular paper onto the skin like this too, which sometimes is beneficial because then you can use it more than once if you have to keep moving the stencil around, if you have like a difficult client. All right.